My dear friends, let me begin with a simple question. What is the most precious treasure in this world? Is it gold, silver, or wealth? No, the greatest treasure is the moments we spend with those we love. Time is the one gift that, once given, never returns. Money can be regained, opportunities can come again, but a lost moment with your loved one is gone forever. Imagine for a moment a father always busy, saying to his little child, "Not now, maybe tomorrow." And one day, tomorrow never comes. The child grows, the father grows old, and both realize the missed moments can never be brought back. This is why I stand here today with a simple but powerful reminder: value your time with your loved ones. Sometimes we think we will live forever. Sometimes we imagine that people around us will always remain. But my friends, life is fragile, and relationships are the most beautiful flowers in our garden. If we do not water them with attention, care, and love, they wither. Today, let us reflect together on how we can treasure every second with our loved ones. My beloved friends, life is like a flowing river. You cannot touch the same water twice. Value your loved ones while they are near. Every moment you share becomes a treasure in their heart and in yours. When the final chapter of our life is written, no one will remember how many hours we worked, how many business meetings we attended, or how many tasks we completed. They will remember the laughter you shared, the kindness you gave, the love you expressed. So let us decide today: I will value my time with those I love. I will not wait for tomorrow. I will give my presence, my forgiveness, my attention, and my heart to them. And let us never forget, time is life. If you value your time with your loved ones, you value your very life itself. Time is more valuable than money. My friends, let these words not just touch your ears, but penetrate deep into your heart. Think for a moment about the hours you spend chasing after wealth, the endless days spent trying to accumulate more, to gain more, to own more. You can always earn again what you have lost in money, but even if you are the richest person on earth, you cannot buy back a single moment that has already passed. Yesterday is gone forever, and no amount of treasure can bring it back. This is the truth that shakes the very foundation of life. Money is replaceable, but time is not. Let me give you a picture from daily life. Imagine a businessman who spends his life building empires, working long hours, flying across countries, and meeting clients from morning till night. He becomes wealthy, his bank account grows, his properties multiply. But when he comes home, his children are already asleep, his wife sits alone at the dinner table, and his parents wait for a call that never comes. Then one day, years later, he finally has time to rest, but by then the children have grown, his parents are gone, and the silence in his house reminds him of all the moments that slipped through his fingers. He gained wealth, but he lost time, and that is a debt no riches can repay. Money is important, yes. We need it to survive, to feed our families, to create opportunities. But let us not confuse money with life itself. Money buys food, but not appetite. Money buys a house, but not a home. Money buys medicine, but not health. Money can rent companionship, but never true love. The most priceless gift you can give to the people around you is not money, but your time, because your time is a piece of your life, and when you share it, you are giving a part of yourself that can never be replaced. Think of a child. What does a child want from a parent? Toys, gadgets, expensive clothes. No, the deepest desire of a child is to hold your hand, to hear your laughter, to feel your presence. A child would rather have a father who spends an hour playing with him in the park than a father who sends the latest toy but is too busy to show up. The toy will break, but the memory of that hour, the memory of that laughter stays forever. Time creates memories, and memories are treasures greater than gold. One moment of sitting beside your parents, listening to their stories, is a jewel you carry in your heart long after they are gone. One evening of sharing tea with a friend, talking and laughing about small things, is worth more than any business deal. Life is not measured by the zeros in your bank account, but by the moments that took your breath away, the moments that touched your heart, the moments you shared with those you love. Yet, many people live as if they are blind to this truth. They run and run, chasing after promotions, chasing after profits, chasing after recognition. They sacrifice dinners, they sacrifice holidays, they sacrifice relationships. And when they finally stop to breathe, they realize they have been climbing a ladder that leaned against the wrong wall. They climbed toward wealth, but they climbed away from love. Imagine for a second that you are on your deathbed. Would you ask to see your bank statement one last time? Would you demand to touch your gold, your car, your house? No, you would ask for your family, your friends, your loved ones. You would crave the sound of their voice, the touch of their hand, the warmth of their presence. In that final moment, you would understand with crystal clarity that time with loved ones is life's greatest treasure, and money is nothing more than dust. So why wait for the last chapter to open your eyes? Why not live today with the wisdom of that moment? Time is slipping through our hands every single second. The clock does not pause, the calendar does not wait. While you are busy worrying about what you lack, your loved ones are waiting for you to give what only you can give yourself. Look around you. Every face you see today is a story, a heart, a soul that longs for connection. Your mother may not say it, but she is longing for your time. Your father may not show it, but he is waiting for your call. Your spouse may not complain, but they yearn for your presence. Your children may act tough, but they are hungry for your attention. And when you give them your time, even a little, you give them a treasure no bank can store. Some people say, I will spend time with my loved ones when things settle down, when I am financially secure, when I achieve my dreams. But life does not wait. Tomorrow is not promised. There are people buried in the graveyard today who also thought they had more time. We do not know how many breaths are left in us, so why gamble with the only treasure that cannot be replaced? Time is not just hours on a clock. Time is love in action. When you sit with your child, you are saying, "You matter to me." When you listen to your friend, you are saying, "Your heart is important." When you share silence with your partner, you are saying, "I choose you above the noise of this world." What if you want to measure the richness of a life? Do not count the coins, count the moments of love. If you want to see true wealth, do not look at possessions, look at relationships. If you want to know who is truly successful, do not ask about salary, ask about the strength of their bonds with those they hold dear. Time, my friends, is the currency of the soul. Spend it wisely, for once it is gone, no king, no billionaire, no power on earth can bring it back. And when you choose to spend it on those you love, you are investing in eternity, for love outlives us all. Love is expressed through presence, not promises. Think about this for a moment. Promises are easy to make. They roll off the tongue like sweet music. We can say, "I will be there for you. I will spend more time with you. I will call you tomorrow. Or one day we will take that trip together." But my friends, promises without presence are like clouds without rain. They look hopeful, but they do not nourish. People around you do not long for the poetry of your words as much as they long for the reality of your presence. Let me tell you a simple story from daily life. A child waits at the window every evening. His father promised, "I will come home early today and we will play in the garden." The hours pass, the sun sets, the stars appear, and the father does not come. The child falls asleep on the couch, holding a ball in his hands, dreaming of a game that never happened. The father returns late at night, carrying the weight of his work and the pride of keeping his business alive. But he does not realize that while he was busy fulfilling his promises to the world, he broke the most important promise to his own child. Years later, that child no longer waits at the window. He has grown, and the father wonders why the connection feels weak. The answer is simple. Love was not expressed through promises. It was only expressed through presence, and presence was missing. Many people live trapped in this illusion. They think that saying, "I love you," is enough. They think that making plans and giving gifts can replace the true essence of love. But love, in its purest form, is the gift of yourself. It is your time, your attention, your listening ear, your warm embrace. You can promise the world, but if you are not there in the moments when you are needed, your words are like an empty echo. Presence is powerful. Presence means you stop what you are doing and give your whole self to the person in front of you. Presence means you silence your phone when your loved one is speaking. Presence means you look into their eyes and truly listen, not just with your ears but with your heart. Presence means when your family gathers at the dinner table, you do not sit distracted by worries of tomorrow, but you cherish the laughter and stories being shared in that moment. We live in a world where people are busier than ever. Meetings, deadlines, notifications, endless lists of tasks. And in this business, we give people promises to comfort them, but promises cannot replace presence. Think of a husband who tells his wife, "Next month we will take a trip together," but every month something comes up. Think of a friend who says, "I will call you tomorrow," but weeks pass without a word. Think of children who are told, "One day I will come to your school event," but that day never arrives. What remains in the hearts of those who were waiting is not the memory of your words, but the pain of your absence. Love needs presence like flowers need sunlight. Imagine a garden where you say to the flowers every day, "I promise I will water you tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. No matter how sincere your promise, the flowers will wither. So it is with the people you love. They cannot live on the promises you give. They need the nourishment of your presence. Sometimes people believe that giving money or expensive gifts can cover for their absence. But let me ask you, can money hug your child? Can a gift listen to your partner's pain? Can wealth sit beside your aging parents and give them comfort? No, only you can. Presence cannot be replaced by possessions. Let me paint another scene. Imagine an elderly mother sitting by the window, waiting for her son. She does not need money. She does not need luxury. All she desires is the sound of his footsteps, the warmth of his voice. She longs for his presence, not his promises. When he says, "Mother, I will come next week," and next week never comes, her heart quietly breaks. And when he finally comes, it is often too late, because presence cannot be stored. It must be given in the moment. True presence also means being emotionally present, not just physically. You can sit in the same room with someone and yet be miles away in your mind. Love is not only about being in the same space, it is about giving your full attention. When your child shares their small stories, when your spouse shares their worries, when your friend shares their dreams, your attentive presence tells them, "You matter to me." But promises speak to the ears, but presence speaks to the heart. Words can be forgotten, but presence is remembered forever. Think of your happiest memories. They are not built on promises, they are built on presence. The day your loved one showed up when you needed them most, the moment they stood by you in silence when words were not enough, the times they laughed with you, cried with you, or simply sat beside you. Those are the treasures of life. Many times we say, "One day I will spend more time with them." But my friends, one day is a dangerous phrase because one day often becomes no day. Love must be expressed now, through presence, not delayed promises. You may have 1,000 plans for tomorrow, but tomorrow is not guaranteed. What you have is today, this moment, this breath, and this opportunity to be present. So when your child calls, answer. When your spouse speaks, listen. When your parents ask for your time, give it freely. When your friend needs you, show up. Do not let your loved ones starve on promises when you have the bread of presence in your hands. Presence is the language of love, and it is a language everyone understands. No translation needed, no explanation required. When you are there, truly there, your loved ones feel it, and it becomes the proof of love stronger than any words you could ever say. Communication builds bridges. Pause and let that sink deep into your heart. Communication is not just about words, it is about connection. It is about the invisible thread that ties two souls together. Think of it this way: when two hearts are separated by misunderstandings, silence, or distance, the only bridge strong enough to bring them back together is communication. Without it, we are like islands drifting farther apart on the ocean of life, each one shouting from the shore but never truly reaching the other. Let me take you into a scene from daily life. A husband comes home after a long day at work. He is exhausted, his mind still buried in the deadlines of his office. His wife waits for him, hoping he will ask how her day was, hoping he will notice the small details she wants to share. But he sits in silence, scrolling through his phone, locked in his own world. She too decides to remain silent, hiding her feelings in her heart. Day after day, this silence becomes thicker like walls rising between them. What was once laughter and ease slowly turns into distance and coldness. The bridge of communication is broken, and love begins to suffer not because the love is gone, but because the connection is lost. Communication is not simply talking. It is the art of listening, the ability to understand, the willingness to be vulnerable. It is looking into someone's eyes and saying with your whole being, "You matter to me, your voice is important, your thoughts are valuable." How many relationships fall apart not because love disappeared, but because communication stopped? How many children drift away from their parents because their stories were never heard? How many friendships dissolve into dust because words were left unsaid? Think of communication like the breath of a relationship. Without breathing, the body cannot survive. Without communication, relationships cannot thrive. When you talk openly, when you share honestly, when you listen deeply, you are breathing life into your connection. Let me give you another simple example. Imagine a teenager who has had a rough day at school. Maybe someone bullied him. Maybe he failed a test. Maybe he feels invisible in a crowd. He comes home, his heart heavy, hoping for a chance to share. But his parents are busy with their own worries, telling him, "Not now, later." That moment passes and the door to his heart slowly closes. He stops sharing, he withdraws into silence, and the parents wonder why he seems distant. The truth is, the bridge of communication was never built, so the gap grew wider. On the other hand, imagine a parent who pauses, sits down and says, "Tell me what's on your mind, I am listening." The child opens up, the burden is shared, and suddenly the heart feels lighter. Nothing magical was done, only a simple act of communication, but it became the bridge that turned pain into comfort. Communication is not about having the perfect words. It is about being real, being sincere, being present. Sometimes the most powerful communication is not a long speech, but a simple phrase. "Understand," or "I am here," "I care about you." These words, when said with sincerity, can heal wounds deeper than silence ever could. We often underestimate the power of small conversations. The 5-minute talk before bed, the morning greeting, the quick call in the middle of the day. These are not meaningless routines. These are the bricks that build the bridge of connection. Neglect them, and the bridge weakens. Honor them, and the bridge becomes strong enough to carry the weight of life's storms. Look at the world today. Families live under the same roof, but are disconnected because each one is buried in their own screen. Friends sit in the same cafe, but their eyes are on their phones instead of each other. We are speaking more words than ever in history, but true communication is becoming rarer. Communication builds bridges, but technology without intention often builds walls. To truly communicate, you must listen more than you speak. Real listening is not waiting for your turn to talk. It is entering the world of the other person. It is stepping into their shoes and seeing life through their eyes. When you listen this way, you are telling them, "You are not alone on this side of the river. I am crossing over to meet you." That is the power of communication. It unites what distance tries to divide. Consider two friends who have drifted apart after a misunderstanding. Pride tells them, "Do not speak, let the other person come first." Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and the gap grows larger. Then one day, one of them gathers the courage to send a simple message. "Can we talk?" That message becomes the first plank of a new bridge. The conversation that follows repairs what silence tried to destroy. The friendship is revived, not by magic, but by communication. Communication is also honesty. Many people are afraid to be honest with their feelings, afraid of being judged or misunderstood. So they bury their emotions, and those buried emotions slowly become bitterness. But honesty, spoken with love, is not a weapon, it is a bridge. When you share your fears, your doubts, your dreams, your pain, you invite the other person to meet you on the bridge of truth. And when they also open their heart, the connection becomes unbreakable. Think also of couples who survive decades of challenges. What is their secret? It is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of communication. They argue, they disagree, they hurt each other sometimes, but they never stop talking. They keep the bridge alive, no matter how strong the storm, and because of that, they always find their way back to each other. Communication builds bridges that money cannot build, bridges that promises cannot build, bridges that time alone cannot build. It is the daily practice of giving your voice, your ears, your attention, and your heart to another human being. When you do this, misunderstandings dissolve, trust deepens, love grows stronger, and relationships last longer. Small gestures create big memories. My friends, sometimes we think that love must be expressed in grand ways, with big celebrations, expensive gifts, or dramatic displays. But life teaches us again and again that it is not the great and extravagant things that remain in the hearts of people. It is the small, simple, and sincere gestures that turn into priceless memories. Imagine a child who receives a costly toy on his birthday. Yes, he will be happy, he will play with it, but over time, the toy will break, it will fade, it will be forgotten. Now imagine that same child walking hand in hand with his father to the park, laughing, sharing ice cream, chasing after a ball. Years later, that toy will be gone, but the memory of holding his father's hand, of hearing his laughter, of feeling that presence, will stay alive in his heart forever. It is the small things that touch the soul. A text message that says, "I'm thinking of you." A smile that lights up a room. A hug that comes without being asked. A cup of tea made for someone who is tired. A note left on the table with the words, "I believe in you." These are the little seeds that grow into forests of memories. Many people make the mistake of waiting for big moments to show their love. They wait for anniversaries, birthdays, holidays. But love does not live only in the special days. Love breathes in the ordinary days. It is the way you listen when someone is speaking, the way you share your food, the way you notice when they are quiet, the way you say, "Drive safely," before they leave. Small gestures create big memories because they show that in the midst of a busy world, someone thought of you, someone cared enough to act, someone gave a piece of themselves without expecting anything in return. Let me give you a daily life example. There was a woman who always prepared her husband's shirt for work every morning. It was such a small act, so ordinary that neither of them thought much about it. But years later, after she passed away, the husband looked at his shirts hanging in the closet, and tears filled his eyes. That simple act, repeated again and again, became one of the most powerful memories of love he carried in his heart. It was never about the shirt, it was about the care behind it, the love stitched into that small gesture. Think of friends who remember your favorite snack and bring it without asking. Think of a neighbor who greets you every morning with a smile. Think of a teacher who puts an encouraging hand on a student's shoulder and says, "I know you can do this." These are not grand events, but years later, people recall them with warmth because they made them feel seen, valued, and loved. Small gestures also heal wounds. Imagine two people who had a misunderstanding, a conflict, a hurtful argument. The silence between them grows heavy and pride holds them back. Then one day, one of them simply brings a cup of coffee to the other, places it down gently, and says nothing. That small act can open the door to reconciliation. Sometimes, a gesture speaks louder than 1,000 apologies. Many people underestimate the impact of small acts. They say, "Oh, it's nothing, it doesn't matter." But to the person receiving it, it can mean everything. You may think a smile is nothing, but to someone battling loneliness, that smile might be the only light in their day. You may think a 5-minute call is nothing, but to someone waiting for your voice, it can feel like a lifeline. You may think writing a short note is nothing, but to someone feeling unseen, it can be the reminder that they are loved. Life is not made up of years, it is made up of moments. And in those moments, it is the small gestures that add color, meaning, and joy. When people look back on their lives, they do not remember every detail, but they remember how people made them feel. They remember the laughter in the kitchen, the warmth of a hug at the airport, the kindness of someone sitting with them when they were sick. There is a famous saying that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Small gestures create the feelings that last for a lifetime. Consider a mother who spends her evenings telling bedtime stories to her child. The stories may be forgotten, but the memory of lying next to her, hearing her voice, feeling her closeness, becomes a foundation of security and love for that child's future. Or think of a grandfather who always gave his grandchildren candy whenever they visited. The candy itself is gone in minutes, but the memory of that simple act becomes a symbol of love that outlives him. Small gestures carry power because they are rooted in intention. They say, "See you, I care about you, you matter to me." They do not require wealth, they do not require status, they only require a willing heart. Anyone, no matter how poor or busy, can give small gestures of love. Let us not underestimate the magic of the simple things. The world is not changed only by leaders and their speeches, it is changed by mothers who give their children hugs, by friends who encourage each other, by strangers who extend kindness without expecting anything in return. These small actions ripple outward, creating waves of goodness that reach farther than we can imagine. A grand event may fade in memory, but a small gesture repeated with love becomes eternal. The warmth of a blanket placed over you when you are asleep, the gentle words whispered when you are afraid, the hand that wipes your tears when you are broken. These are the treasures that no one can take away. So never think that love requires something big to be meaningful. Sometimes, the greatest expression of love is hidden in the smallest act. And it is those very acts that create the memories people carry in their hearts for the rest of their lives. Choose people over screens. Think about these words with all the seriousness they deserve, because today we are living in an age where glowing devices are stealing the glow of human relationships. The phone in your hand, the screen on your desk, the tablet on your lap, they all promise connection. But often they rob you of the most important connection. The one with the living, breathing people sitting right in front of you. Picture this: a family gathers at the dinner table. The food is warm, the room is filled with the aroma of love. But instead of laughter and conversation, there is silence. Each member has their eyes fixed on their screens, scrolling endlessly, tapping, swiping. A father does not notice the sparkle in his daughter's eyes as she tries to tell him about her school project. A mother misses the chance to hear her son's small victory from his day. They are together physically, yet emotionally galaxies apart. The screens have won, the people have lost. Life is not lived in pixels, it is lived in presence. No screen, no app, no message notification can replace the joy of hearing your child laugh in real time, or the comfort of looking into your loved one's eyes, or the strength of feeling someone's hand in yours. Yet too many of us are guilty of giving our best hours, our sharpest attention, our deepest focus to screens, and leaving only the leftovers for people who should mean the most to us. Think of the irony. We spend hours commenting on strangers' posts, liking pictures of people we barely know, following updates from celebrities who will never know our names, while ignoring the very souls who sit beside us, waiting for our time and attention. We say to our spouse, to our children, to our parents, "Just a minute, I am busy." But that minute turns into hours, days, even years. One day, when we finally look up, we realize that the faces we ignored are no longer there. Imagine a young couple sitting in a cafe. They came to spend time together, yet both are scrolling through their phones. They post pictures to show the world they are happy, but in reality, they are miles apart, living in digital illusions. Love does not grow on screens, it grows in the soil of presence. Every time you choose a screen over a person, you are silently saying, "This device is more important than you." You may not intend it, but that is the message that seeps into the heart of the one sitting across from you. A child who constantly sees their parents absorbed in a phone begins to believe they are not worth attention. A partner who watches their loved one scroll endlessly through social media begins to feel invisible. A parent who longs for a call, but instead sees their child posting online feels abandoned. Screens are tools, not masters. They are meant to serve us, not enslave us. Yes, they can connect us to people far away, but let us not allow them to disconnect us from the people sitting near. A message on a screen can never replace the sound of your laughter. An emoji can never replace the warmth of your embrace. A video call can never replace the comfort of sitting side by side. Let me give you a simple but powerful example. There was once a boy who kept begging his father to play with him. The father was always busy, phone in hand, answering work emails, reading news, checking notifications. Later, son, later, He kept saying, one day the father looked up from his phone and saw his boy sitting quietly in the corner, no longer asking, no longer smiling. In that silence, the father realized that while he was busy connecting with the world, he was disconnecting from the most important world, the heart of his own child. Do not let this happen to you. Screens will always be there, but people will not. You can replay a video, but you cannot replay a missed conversation. You can recharge your phone, but you cannot recharge a missed moment with someone you love. Make a habit of putting your phone down when you are with people. Let your eyes meet theirs. Let your ears truly listen. Let your presence be the gift they remember. Create a rule for yourself: when you sit at the table, no screens. When you spend time with family, no screens. When a loved one speaks, no screens. Because nothing on that device is more precious than the human soul in front of you. Small sacrifices of screen time lead to great rewards in relationships. Imagine how your child will feel when you put the phone aside and play with them. Imagine how your spouse will feel when you turn off the television and simply talk. Imagine how your parents will feel when, instead of sending them a quick text, you show up at their door, sit down, and share a meal. Screens may entertain you for a moment, but people fill your heart for a lifetime. The time you invest in people returns to you in memories, in laughter, in love that outlives you. The time you invest in screens often leaves you empty, craving more, chasing shadows that disappear. So choose wisely. Choose conversations over notifications. Choose laughter over scrolling. Choose real hugs over virtual likes. Choose people over screens, because one day you will not remember the videos you watched, the posts you liked, or the updates you scrolled through. But you will remember the evenings filled with laughter, the nights of deep conversations, the mornings of shared coffee, the embraces that healed your heart, the presence that made you feel alive. Forgiveness keeps relationships alive. These words are not just a gentle reminder, they are the very oxygen of love, the heartbeat of every bond, the unseen glue that holds families, friendships, and marriages together. No relationship can survive without forgiveness. Because where there is love, there will be mistakes. Where there are human beings, there will be failures. And where there are failures, there must be forgiveness. Imagine a husband and wife. One day a small argument turns into harsh words, and those words cut deeper than either of them intended. Silence follows, and pride builds a wall between them. Days pass, and though they live under the same roof, their hearts are separated. The wife waits for the husband to apologize. The husband waits for the wife to soften first, and in that waiting, the distance grows. But then one evening, the husband quietly says, "I am sorry." The wife looks at him and with tears replies, "I forgive you." In that single moment, the heavy chains of silence break, the wall crumbles, and love breathes again. What kept their relationship alive was not the absence of conflict, but the presence of forgiveness. Think of a child who disobeys, who makes mistakes that disappoint the parents. If every mistake were punished without forgiveness, that child would grow up broken, crushed under guilt, never learning the beauty of grace. But when the parent corrects yet forgives, disciplines yet embraces, the child understands that love is stronger than failure. And that knowledge plants courage in the heart. The child learns, I am not loved because I am perfect. I am loved because I belong. This is the power of forgiveness. It teaches us that love is greater than our flaws. Many people think forgiveness is weakness, but forgiveness is the greatest strength. Anyone can hold a grudge. Anyone can stay angry. Anyone can replay the hurt again and again in their mind. That is easy. But to look at someone who hurt you and say, I release you. I will not let your mistake poison my heart. I choose peace over bitterness. That requires a strength few possess. Forgiveness is not saying the hurt was small. Forgiveness is saying my love is bigger than the hurt. Unforgiveness is like carrying a heavy stone on your back. Every day you wake up and carry it. Every night you go to sleep with it pressing on your chest. It drains your energy, it steals your joy, it keeps you locked in the prison of yesterday. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is dropping that stone. It is freeing yourself as much as you free the other person. When you forgive, you do not only give life to the relationship, you give life to your own heart. Look at friendships. How many friendships have died because of small misunderstandings that could have been healed with a simple act of forgiveness? One friend forgot a birthday, another said something careless, another failed to show up when needed. Instead of forgiving, pride entered, and years of shared memories dissolved into silence. Yet, if just one of them had chosen forgiveness, that friendship could have lived, the laughter could have continued, the bond could have grown deeper. Forgiveness keeps relationships alive because it refuses to let temporary pain destroy permanent love. There is a powerful truth in daily life. People you love will hurt you, and you will hurt them too. Not always intentionally, not always with malice, but because we are human and humans are imperfect. If you expect perfection, you will always be disappointed. But if you practice forgiveness, you will always find a way to restore. Love is not about never falling. Love is about rising again, hand in hand, through the grace of forgiveness. Let me give you another example. A son once left home in anger after a heated argument with his father. He did not return for years, carrying bitterness in his heart. Then one day, he heard his father was ill. With hesitation, he came back, unsure of what to expect. But when he entered the room, his father weakly reached out his hand and said, "Son, let us forget the past. I forgive you, and I hope you forgive me too." Tears flowed, hearts healed, and what could have ended in regret turned into reconciliation. The years lost could not be recovered, but the relationship lived again, revived by forgiveness. Forgiveness does not erase the memory, but it removes the poison. The wound may leave a scar, but the scar becomes a story of healing, not a reminder of pain. When you forgive, you are saying, "I choose love over resentment. I choose peace over war. I choose to give us another chance." And that choice breathes life into the relationship again. Bitterness kills, forgiveness revives. Anger divides, forgiveness unites. Holding grudges closes doors, forgiveness opens them. You cannot build a lasting family, a lasting marriage, a lasting friendship without forgiveness. Every lasting bond you admire in life is built on countless acts of forgiveness, spoken and unspoken. In your own life, ask yourself, how many relationships are waiting for your forgiveness to live again? How many people are carrying guilt because you refuse to let go? How many bridges are broken that could be rebuilt if you laid down your pride and offered forgiveness? You may say, they don't deserve it. Maybe they don't. But neither do you deserve the weight of bitterness. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself as much as to them. And think of this: time is short. Tomorrow is not promised. One day, the person you are angry with may no longer be here. Will you let your last memory of them be one of silence, distance, and regret? Or will you choose forgiveness now, while you still have the chance to heal? Forgiveness keeps relationships alive, but it also keeps love alive in you. Without it, you are only surviving, not truly living. Celebrate the ordinary moments, because these are the hidden treasures that often go unnoticed in the rush of life. We live in a world where people are constantly chasing the extraordinary, waiting for the big victories, the grand celebrations, the dramatic life changes. Yet the truth is, life is not built on a few monumental events. It is built on countless small, ordinary moments that carry within them the deepest beauty. A warm meal with family, a walk at sunset, a child laughing over something silly, a friend calling just to check in, a quiet morning where you sit with a cup of tea and breathe. These are not interruptions to life. They are life itself. People often wait for milestones to feel joy. They say, "I will celebrate when I get that promotion," or "I will be happy when I buy that house," or "I will spend time with my family once life slows down." But what they fail to realize is that life does not wait. Children grow up while you are busy. Parents grow older while you are distracted. Friends drift away while you postpone that phone call. By the time you think you are ready to celebrate, the very moments you should have celebrated may be gone forever. The greatest tragedy is not the absence of big events. It is missing out on the ordinary days that silently pass by. Imagine a father who works late every night, thinking he is doing it for his family. He tells himself, "When I finally succeed, I will give them the life they deserve." Years go by, and he becomes successful. But when he looks around, the children are no longer children. They are grown, and the laughter he thought would wait for him is now a memory. He realizes too late that the true wealth was never in the achievements, but in the evenings at the dinner table, in the bedtime stories, in the little hugs and tiny hands that once reached for his. Those ordinary moments were the extraordinary treasure he missed. Celebrating ordinary moments does not mean ignoring ambition. It means refusing to sacrifice the present in the hope of a future that may never come. What if happiness is not at the end of the road, but along the journey itself? What if the smile of your child today is worth more than the applause of the world tomorrow? What if the simple act of sharing tea with your loved one is more powerful than any award you could ever receive? Life whispers through ordinary moments, but only those who pause to listen can hear its song. Look at nature. Flowers bloom quietly, the sun rises every morning, rain falls without announcement, and the stars shine every night. None of these ordinary events make headlines, yet without them, life would not exist. In the same way, your life is held together not by the occasional mountain, top experiences, but by the daily rhythms of ordinary love, ordinary kindness, ordinary connection. And when you learn to celebrate these, every day becomes extraordinary. How many times do people say, "Today was just an ordinary day"? But isn't that exactly what makes it beautiful? An ordinary day means you are alive, you are breathing, you have people around you, you have opportunities waiting, you have a chance to love and be loved. One day, you will look back and realize those so-called ordinary days were the ones you long to relive. Take, for example, a grandmother sitting with her grandchildren baking cookies, telling stories, laughing at small things. There are no cameras flashing, no stage, no audience, just the simple warmth of togetherness. Years later, when the children are grown, those afternoons will be the golden memories they treasure. Not the big parties, not the expensive gifts, but the smell of cookies in the kitchen, the sound of her voice, the feeling of love in the air. That is the power of celebrating the ordinary. Celebrating the ordinary does not mean being passive, it means being present. It means putting away your phone to truly listen when your loved one speaks. It means appreciating the way your child's eyes light up when they tell you about their day. It means noticing the beauty in the way the morning light falls across your room. It means laughing at small jokes, holding hands during a walk, eating together without hurry. These are not distractions from your life, these are the very essence of it. Think of couples who stay deeply in love after decades together. Ask them their secret, and rarely will they say it was because of grand gestures or expensive trips. Instead, they will talk about eating together every evening, supporting each other during ordinary struggles, saying, "Thank you," and "I love you" every single day, choosing to smile even when the day was long and hard. Love thrives in the ordinary, not just in the extraordinary. Too many people live as if life begins after the big moment, but the truth is, life is happening right now. The laughter you hear, the meals you share, the conversations you enjoy, the quietness you experience. All of this is life calling you to celebrate. When you postpone joy, you postpone life. When you celebrate the ordinary, you open your eyes to the miracle of now. Let me tell you something powerful. The extraordinary is hidden inside the ordinary. The hug from your child is not just a hug, it is a reminder that you are loved unconditionally. The smile from your partner is not just a smile, it is a promise of companionship. The chatter of your parents is not just noise, it is the living evidence that you still have them with you. The cup of tea shared with a friend is not just tea, it is connection, it is life. When you see the extraordinary inside the ordinary, every moment becomes a reason to celebrate. So do not wait for the fireworks of life. Notice the candles that already light your path. Do not wait for the grand stage. Cherish the small conversations in your living room. Do not wait for the applause of strangers. Treasure the quiet laughter of those who truly love you. Because one day, you will realize that the most precious jewels were never the big achievements, but the ordinary moments you chose to celebrate along the way. Teach by example, because words may instruct the mind, but actions shape the heart. Every child, every friend, every loved one is watching more closely than we think. We may speak thousands of words about kindness, honesty, patience, and love, but if our actions do not reflect what we say, our words will fade into emptiness. To teach by example means to live in such a way that others do not just hear our values, they see them, they feel them, and they are inspired to follow them. Imagine a father telling his son, "Be honest in life, never lie." Yet when the phone rings, the father tells the child to say, "Tell them I am not home." What happens in that moment? The words about honesty disappear, and the child learns from the action, not the lecture. The father may think it is a small thing, but to the child, it is a lesson written deeply in the heart. We must realize children and even adults around us are not only listening to what we say, they are absorbing what we do. A mother who constantly tells her daughter, "Be patient, don't be quick to anger," but then loses her temper at the smallest inconvenience, is teaching the opposite of her words. The daughter may not argue back, but in her heart she will remember, this is how patience looks. If we want patience to grow in others, it must first be planted in us. Teaching by example is powerful because it carries authenticity. People are drawn not to speeches, but to lives that embody the message. Think of a leader at work who demands excellence from his team, but himself arrives late, avoids responsibility, and cuts corners. His words carry no weight. Now think of another leader who works with integrity, who stays longer than needed, who treats every person with respect. His team will follow not because he demands it, but because he shows it. Leadership by example is stronger than leadership by authority. In daily life, your actions are constantly speaking. A parent who prays, who reads, who works hard, who forgives, is shaping the lives of their children more deeply than they realize. A spouse who shows love in small, consistent actions, like listening, helping, encouraging, is teaching what true love looks like. A friend who stands by another during hard times is showing loyalty in a way no words could ever teach. There is a saying, "What you speak so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." This is the truth of life. People around you are not memorizing your advice, they are studying your behavior. If you tell them to value time but waste your own, your words lose meaning. If you tell them to love others but live with bitterness, your message dies. But if you model what you teach, your life becomes a living book, and people cannot help but read it. Imagine a classroom where the teacher talks about the importance of respect, but mocks the students. Respect will never grow there. Now imagine another classroom where the teacher speaks gently, listens to students, values their thoughts, and shows fairness. In that classroom, even without long speeches, respect begins to grow naturally. Why? Because respect is being taught by example. This principle does not only apply to families or classrooms, it applies everywhere. In friendships, you teach by how you treat your friends. In your community, you teach by how you interact with neighbors. Even in the smallest interactions, such as holding the door open, speaking kindly to a stranger, or returning a lost item, you are teaching the world what kind of human being you are. There was once a story of a young boy who saw his father giving money to a poor man on the street. The father never lectured him about generosity, never preached about compassion, but that one act left an imprint on the boy's heart. Years later, the boy grew into a man known for his generosity. Why? Because the father had taught by example, and the seed planted in that moment bore fruit for a lifetime. Many people underestimate the power of small actions. They think teaching requires a stage, a microphone, or a long lecture. But teaching by example happens in the unseen moments when you don't realize anyone is watching. Your child notices how you treat the waiter. Your friend notices if you keep your promises. Your colleagues notice if you admit your mistakes. People learn from how you live when you least expect it. And here is the truth: teaching by example is not about perfection, it is about sincerity. You will make mistakes, you will fall short, but when you admit your faults, when you apologize, when you try again, you are teaching humility and perseverance. Sometimes the greatest lesson you can teach is not in your success, but in your willingness to rise after failure. Every generation is shaped not just by the words of their elders, but by the actions they witnessed. If you want your children to grow with values, live those values before them. If you want love in your family, let them see you loving without conditions. If you want respect, let them see you respecting others. If you want them to value time, let them see you using your time wisely. If you want them to forgive, let them see you forgiving. Actions are the mirrors where values are reflected. When you teach by example, you create ripples far beyond what you can see. A child influenced by a parent grows up to influence their own children. An employee inspired by a leader becomes a leader who inspires others. A friend touched by loyalty becomes a loyal friend to many. Your example outlives you, continuing to teach long after your words are forgotten. The question you must ask yourself daily is, what lesson am I teaching with my actions? What story does my life tell to those who watch me? Every smile, every choice, every word backed by action is a seed being sown. One day, you will look around and see the harvest of the seeds you planted, not through lectures, but through the life you lived. Remember that tomorrow is not promised, and this truth should shake us to the core, because it is the most undeniable yet most ignored reality of life. We walk through our days as though time is endless, as if we have a contract with life guaranteeing us another sunrise, another chance, another tomorrow. But the truth is, none of us knows how many breaths remain, how many mornings we will wake up to, how many evenings we will sit with those we love. Every tomorrow is uncertain, and because of that, every today is priceless beyond measure. Think about how often we say, "I'll call them tomorrow," "I'll visit next week," "I'll say sorry when the time is right," or "I'll spend more time with my family when life slows down." We keep pushing the most important things into the future, believing the future will wait for us. But what if tomorrow never arrives? What if the phone call you delayed is one you will never be able to make? What if the hug you planned for another day becomes a hug you can never give? The tragedy is not just losing people, it is realizing we had the time but didn't use it. Imagine a man working day and night, consumed by his career, telling himself that once he retires, he will finally spend quality time with his wife and children. Years pass and he builds success, but then one day, his health collapses or tragedy strikes, and he realizes the moments he postponed cannot be recovered. He gave his best years to deadlines and meetings, while the laughter of his children grew silent in his absence, while the companionship of his spouse faded into distance. Tomorrow was not promised, yet he lived as if it was. And think about the countless stories we hear of people who leave home for a normal day, never to return. Accidents, illness, unexpected events. Life can change in a second. We always believe we have more time, but the truth is, the most dangerous word is later. Later I will forgive, later I will show love, later I will chase my dream. But later is a thief, and tomorrow is not promised. This awareness should not paralyze us with fear, but ignite us with passion. It should awaken us to live fully, to love deeply, and to act boldly. When you know time is fragile, you stop wasting it on grudges, petty arguments, and meaningless distractions. You begin to value the people around you, to speak words of kindness, to show appreciation, to let those you love know how much they mean to you. Today, not tomorrow. Think of a son who has been angry with his father for years over old misunderstandings. He thinks, "One day I will make peace." But the years slip away, and then suddenly his father is gone. The words unsaid become a burden he carries forever. Contrast that with another son who chooses to let go of pride, who visits his father and says, "I love you, and I don't want anything to stand between us." That son walks away free, because he did not wait for tomorrow, he acted today. Every goodbye should be filled with love, because you don't know if it is the last one. Every conversation should carry kindness, because you don't know if you will have another chance. Every ordinary day should be treated as extraordinary, because tomorrow is not promised. Look at your own life. How often do you scroll endlessly on your phone while your child is asking for your attention? How often do you brush aside the gentle voice of your loved one because you are too busy with tasks that won't matter 5 years from now? How often do you say later? To the very people who matter most, the harsh truth is that one day you will wish for just one more minute with them, and no amount of regret will buy it back. So choose differently today. If there is someone you love, tell them now. If there is someone you need to forgive, do it now. If there is a dream burning in your heart, pursue it now. Stop waiting for perfect timing, because the only time you truly own is the moment you are living in right now. Remember the story of a young woman who lost her best friend suddenly. They had argued weeks before, and she had thought, "I'll apologize when I'm ready." But when the tragedy struck, her chance was gone forever. Her pain was not only grief, but the unbearable weight of words unsaid. She would have given anything to go back and choose differently. You do not need to carry such regret. You can choose today to speak, to forgive, to love, to live. Tomorrow is not promised, and that reality makes today sacred. It is the reminder that time is not infinite, that relationships are fragile, and that love should never be postponed. It means hugging tighter, laughing louder, forgiving quicker, and appreciating deeper. It means living with urgency, not for material things, but for the people who make life worth living. So when you wake up in the morning, don't treat it as routine. It is not just another day, it is a gift, an opportunity that many did not receive. When you sit with your loved ones, don't be distracted, be present, because tomorrow is not promised. When you have the chance to be kind, do it immediately, because tomorrow is not promised. When you feel the urge to say, "I love you," say it with all your heart, because tomorrow is not promised. Life is not measured by the number of years you live, but by the depth of moments you embrace. Some live long, but never truly live, while others live a short time, but leave a legacy of love, joy, and impact. The difference lies in those who understand that tomorrow is not promised, and therefore live each day with purpose, gratitude, and love. My dear friends, as we draw this message to a close, let me remind you that life is not a rehearsal. It is the only performance you will ever give. Every second that passes is a stroke on the canvas of your destiny. Every moment with your loved ones is a note in the song of your legacy. Time is not your possession, it is only your opportunity. And what you do with it today will echo into eternity. Tomorrow is not promised. Yesterday cannot be returned. The only treasure you hold in your hands is now. There are people who spend their whole lives waiting for the perfect season, waiting for the perfect chance, waiting for the perfect moment to love, to forgive, to dream, to live. But the truth is, the perfect moment is never in tomorrow, it is always in today. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It is about learning to dance in the rain. It is not about counting the days, it is about making the days count. You see, the richest wealth is not in gold or possessions, it is in the laughter of your children, the embrace of your parents, the smile of your partner, the loyalty of your friends. These treasures cannot be bought, and once lost, they cannot be replaced. Hold them close, value them deeply, cherish them now, for they are the true jewels of your existence. Do not let regrets become the story of your life. Too many people spend their last breath wishing they had said, "I love you" more often, wishing they had forgiven sooner, wishing they had been present in the moments that truly mattered. You do not have to live that way. You can choose differently. You can choose today to embrace the gift of time and to pour it into those who mean the most to you. Remember, greatness is not measured by how much you take from life, but by how much love you give while you are here. Your success is not in the applause of strangers, but in the silent prayers of your loved ones, whose lives you touched with kindness, patience, and love. One day, people will not remember the car you drove or the house you lived in. They will remember how you made them feel, how you stood by them, how you loved them when they needed it the most. So let me tell you, never postpone love. If you love someone, tell them now. If you appreciate someone, express it now. If you need to reconcile with someone, do it now. Pride may whisper to wait, but wisdom says act today. Because once the moment is gone, you may never have another chance. There is a powerful truth that says yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. And that is why we call it the present. So unwrap your present with gratitude. Unwrap your present with love. Unwrap your present with the urgency of someone who understands that every heartbeat is a miracle. Believe me, the clock of life is ticking for all of us. There is no pause button, no rewind, no replay. Every tick is one step closer to the end, but also one chance closer to make the most of now. Don't waste those ticks in bitterness. Don't waste them in distraction. Don't waste them in chasing things that do not matter. Invest them in people, in love, in dreams, in purpose. The world is not changed by people who merely speak, it is changed by people who act. The world is not moved by those who only exist, it is moved by those who truly live. Dare to live now, dare to give now, dare to forgive now. For what you do today will become the stories people tell about you tomorrow. When you leave this hall, when you switch off your screen, when you return to your homes, do not go back the same. Go back determined to hug tighter, to listen longer, to laugh louder, to appreciate deeper. Go back determined to turn ordinary days into extraordinary memories. Go back determined to live with such passion that your life itself becomes a motivational speech without words. Always remember these words of wisdom. Do not wait for opportunity, create it. Do not wait for tomorrow, live today. Do not wait for someone to bring you flowers. Plant your own garden and decorate your soul. And most importantly, do not wait to love, because love is the only wealth that multiplies when you give it away. Let your life speak so loudly with love that even when your voice is silent, generations will hear it. Let your presence be so warm that when you are gone, your absence will still inspire people to live better. Let your days be filled with so much purpose that when the book of your life is closed, the world will not say, "Here ended a life," but "Here began a legacy." As the great saying goes, don't count the years in your life, make the years in your life count. Live so fully that when your final moment comes, you will not look back in regret but forward with peace, knowing that you valued your time with your loved ones, knowing that you poured out your love without holding back, knowing that you truly lived. My friends, the time is now, the choice is yours, and the gift is in your hands. Live it, love it, and let it shine, because tomorrow is not promised, but today is in your power.